You're teed up for Golf News RI TV on CW Providence with your host Joe Calabro and his guests. We're talking everything golf around the region and on the tours. Now, here's your host, Joe Calabro.
Welcome to Golf News RI TV, episode 10. I'm Golf News RI co-founder and CEO, Joe Calabro. Hope everyone is having a great week and a great summer so far. We are officially through the craziest stretch, one of the craziest stretches in the history of Rhode Island golf. As you guys know, when we tape these shows, we tape them on Monday generally, and they air over the weekend. So last week's show, when we taped it, obviously the state amateur hadn't even happened yet. It had just barely begun. So now we are officially through that. And congrats to Bobby Leopold on the big win. We had three big tournaments here: the Northeast Amateur, the U.S. Senior Open, a week break-ish, and then we had the Rhode Amateur. All three tournaments were epic. They all went extra holes, amazingly. So I don't know if that's what that means for the rest of the season. We have the Women's Am coming up. We have Club Championship season coming up. But an amazing stretch of golf here, and it was fun to cover it. And as I said in my Instagram post the other day, thank you to everybody for following along. I just felt like it was a good time to stop and say thank you to all our followers and friends and fans and whoever else for following along. It's been quite exciting, and we're going to continue the excitement on this show. We do want to get to some production that I did. Bobby Leopold won the State Am in 39 holes against Michael Hamilton at Warwick Country Club. Afterward, I talked to Bobby Leopold about the win, what it means, and much more. Here's Bobby.
Bobby Leopold captured his fifth RI Amateur Championship this past week, beating Mike Hamilton in an epic 39-hole duel at Warwick Country Club.
This was by far the hardest. Mike's kind of like playing myself, but he hits it almost a little further than I do. And I think like there's times where I like, if I was a little bit taller, I could hit it as far as he does. But man, he hits some hell of shots, and I don't think I've come up against such a tough opponent.
Leopold becomes just the third Rhode Islander to win 5 state amateur titles. If and when he wins his 6th, he'll stand alone.
It's incredible. It is. I mean, this week has been kind of like next one up, come on, focus on. Like I tried to play 18 mini hole matches like within each match, and I did really well, but the problem was this match was 36. And to do it back to back, I mean, to me, like, it's really impressive in my head.
What's equally as impressive is that Leopold has won 2 straight amateur titles and 3 of the last 4.
My match play mentality's gotten a lot better. I try and have my own secrets as to how I play certain people and how I play certain matches and everything else. And
But at the end of the day, it all comes down to the love and support from family.
And we always say that if life is good, golf is good. I feel the two of them kind of go together really well. I got a great wife, I got 3 great kids. They support me with everything I do. Even though my son says, my oldest, he's always like, "Daddy, you stink. Come on, play better." He's probably out there being like, "What happened? Well, you were 3 up and now you're all tied." But without like all their personalities and their support, it's there's nothing to play for. You're playing for yourself, but it's way better to play when you got wife and kids that love you, and I love them. So
That was Bobby Leopold talking about his 5th amateur title victory. He is only one of 3 Rhode Islanders to win 5 amateur titles. If and when he wins 6, most likely when, he will stand alone. So big things on the horizon for Bobby. Not mentioned in that package is he actually gets a bid now to the U.S. Amateur later this summer in Minnesota. It's a new thing this year. All state amateur champions get an automatic bid to the U.S. Amateur. So big things ahead. The U.S. Amateur is in the middle of August, somewhere around there, over in Minnesota. So we'll be following that as well. So Bobby wins number 5. Congrats to him. And it was a great week, great stretch of golf here in Rhode Island. Now, with that said, we are here at Miatomi Park. I hope I pronounced that right. Miatomi Park here in Newport. I spent more time in Newport this summer than I have in the last 5 summers combined. And we're delighted to be joined by Steve Heath, the Executive Director of First Tee Rhode Island in Fab Newport. Steve, thanks so much for doing this.
All right, Joe, thanks for coming down to the park. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we have some kids playing golf, kids learning the game. So I had you on my podcast months ago. You guys just launched in March 2024, First Tee Rhode Island. People have heard of the First Tee programs. It's a well-known program all over the country, and it's huge to have one here in Rhode Island. How did this kind of come about? I know Fab Newport is a big part of it. How did this whole thing come about to get this program here?
Yeah, so Fab Newport has been working with middle and high school kids in Newport for the last 11 years. In Orlando, my colleague was working next door at the Boys and Girls Club, and we both realized that we loved golf. And we offer a slate of program that includes farming, surfing, hiking, art, music, coding. And what we like to do is get kids out into the community and see what's possible. If they haven't seen what's possible, we don't know. How are they supposed to know what they want to do with their lives? And we've got 6 golf courses on the island, lots of opportunities in the hospitality business. So we thought golf would be a great way to just introduce kids to new possibilities, a great form of recreation, career pathways, and also a great way to meet people. So we got started as Fab Golf, and then we pursued First Tee because we love their platform. They have an amazing curriculum. They have 5 core commitments. I won't remember them all off the top of my head, but they involve things like collaboration, pursuing goals, growing through challenge, and that aligns with Fab Newport's mission and our vision for positive youth development, which revolves around kids developing their identity, which is another core commitment from First Tee, developing competencies, hence the challenge that's connected to First Tee, and then just getting out into the world and seeing what's possible. And pursuing goals is another First Tee core commitment. And at Fab Newport, we call that pursuing your positive future vision. And so our job as an organization is to connect kids to the resources, opportunities, and relationships they need to thrive in a way that makes sense for them. So we're learner-centered and community-based.
Look at that. You almost shoot up the whole segment. Good job. We're going to get into more of this. We'll have to do it on the other side of the break. But first couple months, what have been some of the challenges, not necessarily with the kids, but just the challenges in general? And then, like I said, we'll have to toss the commercial here in a few seconds. But some of the early challenges you guys have faced.
So, we've got an indoor space at A1 Roofing. So, it works, but it's small. So you can only get so many kids out there. And then, we run our outdoor programming primarily at Green Valley, which is a busy public facility. So, working out a dynamic relationship with them that makes sense for our program and make sense for them are all things that we need to work on to continue to improve.
Awesome. We'll continue with more of that after this commercial break. You're watching GolfNewsRI TV. Be right back.
Now back to GolfNewsRI TV with your host, Joe Calabro, and today's guest. Special thanks to our sponsors, Providence Performing Arts Center and 4 Evergreen Turf Management.
Welcome back to GolfNewsRI TV here in Newport with Steve Heath, the Executive Director of First Tee Rhode Island, a newly launched program that launched in March and is growing rapidly. I was at the U.S. Senior Open a few weeks ago. You guys had a booth there. I think you had like a little mini golf course set up type of thing. What was that experience like to have a booth at the U.S. Senior Open?
That was so much fun. We appreciated the USGA and First Tee National working through that for us. And so we had a putting green.
Yeah.
And so we had some, lag putting contests, and then we had it's called chip-tack-toe. So the kids, there's a tic-tac-toe board laid out, and you play against each other, and each person gets 8 balls of different color, and the first one to get 3 in a row. So what's super cool about First Tee is they kind of gamify all their curriculum. So, you learn one fundamental golf skill at each session, and then each session, each class is also embedded with a character development trait. So the beginning of a class, you talk about like collaboration, and then you emphasize that during the class, and then you wrap it up with collaboration. But then when you do the actual class, whether it's like lag putting or chip-tac-toe or different kinds of games that the kids don't even really know, they're working on their skills and working on the character development, and things unfold and they're having fun. And if you're a good golfer, you still want to chip the ball in. If you're a learning golfer, it gives you something to focus on. So it's a beautiful thing. They've invested a lot of money in curriculum development. It's really a great program from that perspective.
I should try chip-tac-toe. Maybe that'll help. Maybe it'll help my game. Bring out a mat. Go over to the Kirk Parade and bring on a mat. Sorry, guys. Excuse me. I'm playing chip-tac-toe.
We'd be happy to come up and set it up for you guys and do an experience for the members.
Yeah, maybe. I might do that. But anyway, any way you can make the game fun, that's what it's all about, is make the game fun, especially for kids. You know, they don't want to go out on a golf course necessarily. They want to play little games and still work on their skills. From your vantage point, I'll be interested to ask Orlando the same thing when we have him on in a few minutes. But from your vantage point, what are you seeing from the kids? What are you seeing from the programs in the, kind of the early stages of First Tee Rhode Island?
I see the kids engaging, having fun, and realizing that they can enjoy a sport that many of them haven't even thought about before, and going to new places too. That's always, we have kids in our program who had never been to a golf course before, or didn't even know there was a golf course on, Union Street in Portsmouth, Rhode Island. And then, they bring their families out there sometimes. And so it's opening up new horizons, I think, is one of the biggest things that we see.
What do you think? Obviously, you guys just started, as I mentioned, a long ways to go. How do you see First Tee Rhode Island developing and growing in the future? Because obviously you want to get bigger and do more things, and as we all do, and do better, I guess. But what do you see for First Tee in the future?
Yeah, we'd like to get some more volunteer coaches. We'd like to start working with schools, and like people to realize that it's always not about just going on the course, that we can do things here in the park. We could do things in a gymnasium. So I think developing a set of programming and having the capacity with the staff and the volunteers to just reach more people during the school day, after school, and in the summer.
Real quick, 30 seconds. If people want to get involved, how can they get involved?
They can, email me at steve@fabnewport.org or orlando@fabnewport.org and send us your information. We'll give you a call back, and we're going to have some coach training coming up. That's a great way to get involved.
Yep. Awesome. That's Steve Heath. We're going to be right back with Orlando Peace, the program director of Fab for First Tee Rhode Island, right here on GolfNewsRI TV. All right, here on GolfNewsRI TV, here in Newport, we're joined now by Orlando Peace, the program director for First Tee Rhode Island and Fab Newport. Steve was just on. He was saying how you were such a big part of getting this to be possible, getting First Tee to Rhode Island. Just talk a little bit about your role in making this happen.
Yes. Basically, like Steve said, that we both have a passion for golf. And one day when we were out golfing, I kind of pitched the idea to him, like, hey, let's start a program where we get more kids that actually look like me out onto the golf course, because even just kids in general, because I go to a golf course and I don't see any kids out on the golf course. And I'm like, what's wrong with that picture? But so I looked at the future of golf, and not just what golf as a sport does, but how golf works as a pathway for kids to actually look at careers and other things that they could do in their profession. So that's why I was like, hey, you know what? I think this is going to work for us.
You were just telling me a little bit off camera about what you're seeing from the kids and how competitive they are. Just talk about that. What's that been like in the early days, if you will, of First Tee Rhode Island? But what are you seeing from the kids that you work with and the kids that are here, today?
Oh, a lot of the kids when they first signed up, they could realize that they're playing a sport that's tough. They're playing a sport that other kids have been playing since they could walk, and they're new to it. But our kids are competitive. And so they made my job a lot easier to be able to say, this is how you swing, this is how you pursue, this is how we carry ourselves on the course, because they're so competitive. They were like, all right, step back, we got this, let us go. But they step up to any challenge. And regardless whether win, lose a match or whatever, they still really love the sport. And a lot of them have said that, hey, you know what? I'm going to keep trying this. I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to work at Orlando. So like I said, they make my job a lot easier, Yeah,
that's awesome. Now here today, I'm going to pronounce the name wrong again, Miatomi Park. What are the kids doing here today? You know, there's an obstacle course of sorts set up.
Right.
What are the kids doing here today?
Oh, today actually we have a 9-hole course set up throughout the entire park. You know, so we would actually be able to play anywhere. I mean, anywhere where you could find a target. You know, the kids would actually be able to play. So we actually work on a lot of chipping, a lot of not putting out here, but they work on being able to say, you know what? Hey, we got a dog leg left around the trees and everything else. They make it a game, regardless. The only thing we do is set it up, and they are creative enough to be able to say, we would like to be able to play. So it's right in their backyard. A lot of kids have access to it that have never done it before. And anytime that they want to come out and try it, even their parents, I love to get the parents out here along with the kids because it's a lot of hard work. So when the kids go back home and they're excited, I want some of those parents to realize why they're excited because of the fun they have, not just because they scored a certain score. It's because of the fun they have and the friends they have out playing golf.
Awesome, man. It's so cool. It's such a cool event, like you said, where you can set up anywhere. I want to get to the work with Green Valley that you guys have been doing because that's cool. And also, I would love to get your thoughts just on golf in general. And we'll do that all after this commercial break. You're watching GolfNewsRI TV. I'm Joe Calabro. Stay tuned.
Now back to Golf News RI TV with your host, Joe Calabro, and today's guest. Special thanks to our sponsors, Imagine Gift Store and Schoolhouse Apartments.
Welcome back to Golf News RI TV. I'm Joe Calabro. Thank you to everybody for tuning in over the last 9 weeks. This is show 10. Amazingly, we got to show 10. But thank you to all our followers. Thank you to all of our sponsors for making this possible. And continue to follow us on GolfNewsRI.com, all of our social media pages, YouTube page. We're starting to post a lot more stuff on the YouTube page now than we did previously, probably because there's been a lot of content, of course. But thank you to everybody for following along. And again, thank you so much to the sponsors who have made Golf News RI TV possible. We are here with Orlando Peace, the program director of First Tee Rhode Island. And you were talking about the work you've done here at the park, setting up the golf course for the kids to play. But you guys have also been doing work with Green Valley Country Club and being able to get the kids onto a real golf course. What has that been like? What are the benefits of that been?
Well, I can tell you, a special thanks to Gary and Mike Dorsey and Ron Raposa, owner of Green Valley Golf Course, and also Joe Oliveira, the superintendent there. They made it so easy for us to actually come out and bring the kids out and actually play. I mean, it's been, for a lot of our kids, they never knew that place existed. But now it's a place they could call home, you know? So it's great for them to go out to practice their skills. We have a practice area. And but the membership alone actually is very welcoming to our kids. And they see the work that we're doing, and they're very supportive of what we're doing.
You said that you're a PGA professional, so obviously you're good at golf. When you look across the platform of junior golf and kids coming up and going through the junior level in high school and whatever, what do you see? What comes to mind when you think of kind of the current state of kind of junior golf in Rhode Island?
I see it's going to be growing. It's going to be a lot of kids from this area, but it has picked up in popularity so much with the COVID that came along. I see more kids out on the course, but they're actually learning so much. It's like unbelievable, you know. And like I said, the junior level, it's actually, especially for high school kids, it's growing. It's big. So hopefully we get a lot more kids involved with it because it's something they could actually play for a lifetime.
And I asked Steve the question. I'll ask you. You guys just started in March. First Tee just started. Obviously, Fab Golf has been going on for some time. But where would you like to see, First Tee Rhode Island go in the future? What other ideas you have? What things would you like to do, kind of going forward as you guys get bigger and better and more kids?
I would love to be able to see more girls more girls. We have grown the game for girls. We started off with maybe 3 or 4, but now we're up to 18 to 20 girls. And I love to be able to grow the game larger for girls. And thanks to our sponsor, Sean Panatala from A1 Roofing and Construction, he gave us a space that in the wintertime we can actually be able to teach a whole lot of kids. A lot of kids came out because we had access to a place that was unbelievable. So I love to be able to see families get involved, and a lot of the people throughout the entire Quinnic Island get more involved with our program, because it's not just specific to the North End, it's island-wide. So hopefully we can get more kids in and families.
Yeah, it's an amazing program. It's great to see so many kids out playing through you guys, through any other programs. Obviously, Buttonhole is a big one down in Providence, but
Yeah.
it's so cool to see these kids taking up the game. And I cover high school golf, and a lot of these high school golf teams are now loaded. Like, they have so many kids like trying out. It's like one guy, I think the Cranston West coach, told me he had 27 kids trying out for the roster. So it's crazy.
It's just like football.
Yeah, it's amazing. So it's been amazing to see, and you guys are doing great work. And the early days of First Tee Rhode Island, certainly looking forward to seeing how you guys grow and continue to build the program. It's a huge deal. So thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you guys for coming out.
Absolutely. This has been GolfNewsRI TV. We are here with First Tee Rhode Island. Thank you to them for having us out. Thank you to the kids for putting on a show for us. And we will talk to you next week on GolfNewsRI TV.
You've been watching Golf RI TV on CW Providence.